guys, it's me, Yaya. What's up? Don't forget to subscribe. Wherever you are, like, comment, subscribe, join, whatever it is. Don't forget to do that. Because, we sit here as people behind the scenes and people putting their life out there and doing this and really trusting that you will just watch. And I need you to actually join wherever you're joining, subscribe wherever you're watching, whatever the case may be, and make sure you tune in every time. Not only to me, but all the other stations that you love so much. Please make sure to comment and find our Facebook pages. Find it. Because the thing is that, you know what? We rely on you for your feedback, but most important, we appreciate you and we want to hear from you. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. We have an amazing show today. Yes, we have an author. I love authors. I love authors. Yes. Authors are in the limelight. I mean, literally speaking, it's like authors are the reason that we understand and how to read and how to do math, science, and how we get caught up in these fiction stories and then they become life stories and real life. Like, Disney is a book, but it's also a theme park. I mean, come on. I mean, this is amazing. And I have an amazing, amazing author on the show today. And I want to welcome Brian Cole here. He is with us and he's going to be talking about his book. Now, okay. There are just like so many different ways to say this name. So please tell me the name of the book because I'm going to mess it up again. I know I am.
No problem. Thanks for having me on. So the book series is called The Paladin's Journey.
Paladin. I was going to say Paladin again.
You were. It focuses on our protagonist, Krell, who's been called to service by ReckNor, the god of the seas and skies. My big problem with a lot of the Paladin books that I've read, and I love the archetype very passionately, but they're always extremely good, extremely noble, honorable, tell the truth, the very truth, justice, the American way, Superman archetype, right? Whether that is Paxenarian from the Deed of Paxenarian, whether that's Sturm Brightblade from Dragonlance, whether that's Luke Skywalker. Sorry, everybody. Star Wars is fantasy, not science fiction. These are all excellent examples of the Paladin archetype. But what happens when a god who is not interested in honor or nobility or justice calls a paladin? What is that paladin like? And that's what I'm exploring. ReckNor doesn't care about glory at all, and Krell isn't exactly sure why he was called in the first place, and struggles to kind of understand what he's supposed to do.
You're talking my language. You're talking my language here. Because like, why are we so I mean, I don't understand it. I don't get it. But like you told me, Yaya, comics. You say DC comics. You say Marvel comics, and I'm like, where? I'm ready to go. If it's Universal and they have something new, I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm getting my tickets. Where do I go to get my
Well,
tickets? Why is that fantasy so cool for us? What is it?
so it plays on like this myth of our own shared history in the world, of us struggling to understand reality and really trying to come up with explanations for
Mm,
what we now know is a lot of science. But back then, who knew why the tides operated the way they did? Why were there dark things in the woods at night? And all of the myths that came out of all of that, that's still present in our own shared history amongst all of us. So we all resonate very deeply with all of these legends and shared stories, and spinning new tales based off of that intrigues us in a way that, for me at least, science fiction does not.
I'm absolutely I'm in love with science fiction. And when you say what you said, I'm done. I'm ready.
Now,
Where is
agree
it?
to disagree, science fiction is heckin' great, but for me, fantasy is absolutely my jam.
Fantasy takes me out of the real world. Like I need to get out of the real world. Who wants to stay in the real world all the time? Tell me why. Why?
Exactly.
No, I can't. I can't. But you do have a journey that I need you to explain. So can you please give us a brief glimpse into the moment when that you have your books and how did the character ReckNor come about?
So, ReckNor is this idea that there are always a lot of gods in fantasy books. It's a very common trope. And I wanted to explore what it was to come at this from the other side, not anything pedantic like good and evil. In my universe, all of the gods are always good and evil at the same time. One of the lines that I use is ReckNor loves the child who gazes at the sea in wonder as much as he loves the pirate reaver running down prey. That's the same thing for him. It's all about who is paying worship in the way that he wants. And all of the other gods have their own different motifs, whether that is, honor for honor's sake or honor because it's the right thing to do. Those could be very different things and lead to very different outcomes. So we're going to explore a lot of different personas and archetypes as represented by these gods.
Okay, so not to spoil it too much. We don't want to spoil it because we want to make sure that we gotta kind of give them a little bit of a taste of the book. But Recknor has these intentions. What are to test the what is it that what is it called? Cruels?
So Krell is our
Krell.
protagonist. He's been called as a paladin,
Okay.
which he hears the voice of ReckNor in his head. ReckNor tries to give him things to do, but this doesn't always work out. So, as an example, when Krell's given an understanding of choices and consequences, he was urged by ReckNor to go and defend the town that he resides in, and let's say it didn't go well. He's got to begin to struggle with his growing awareness that being called as a paladin is a lot of responsibility. This isn't just free power given to somebody and then he's turned loose. He has a job, he's got responsibilities, and he has to reconcile the many people killed by the Sea Devils, the underlying threat in the book series, with his responsibilities to defend them. This causes a lot of his own personal journey and understanding of what it means to be a paladin of a god that demands you choose freely but accept the consequences of your choices. He eventually arrives at a new understanding of what he has to do by the end of Book 2, Futility of Defense, which sets the course for all of the subsequent books in the series that I am continuing to write.
Nice. Now I do want to ask you. This is like so in there's just like so many different things that are going on. You got two books, you got two characters, you got Cruel, right? Krill. You
Correct.
have
Yep.
right, and then you have Paladin, and this is like there is like these conflicts. I mean, so what does the futility of the defense? I mean, the physical enemies. What does that faith play into in the moment of truth? The readers will not see coming. I mean, you can't give it up, though. I mean, but what? I mean, how can you say that? I mean, I don't know. You know better than me. Just don't give it away.
So Krell's journey is more than just physical throughout book two. And fairly early on, he comes to the realization that his stance of trying to avoid attachments has failed utterly. He had this belief that eventually people are going to come for him, that they are going to seek to hurt him and use his friends as an axis to attack him. And it's gently pointed out that it's already way too late, that he cares about his friends, that despite all of his intentions, he has to accept that he cares deeply about these individuals. And this is, of course, at odds with ReckNor, who kind of looks at Krell and says, "Look, there are things I need you to do. If these people get in the way, then I will remove them," which doesn't give Krell that warm, happy feeling. ReckNor is not widely known for his benign and gentle nature.
Mm, mm. In all the questions that I want to ask you, and all of the things that we could say. I don't want you to give it away, but you have two books. There's so much information. I kind of want to go down a different road if you do not mind. It's like, okay, so you got the conflicts, you have the mindset, you have the journeys, you got all of these things. How did you come up with all of this?
So I've been a storyteller my whole life. When I was
Oh,
very young, I fell in love with the fantasy genre. The first book series I read in this was Dragonlance Chronicles, which is an old school call out. It's great, not at all what you expect. It's got its weaknesses. I reread them fairly recently, and they're pretty good. But the movie Willow, I think, really crystallized it for me. I was very young, very formative age. Of course, Star Wars had a huge impact on me as well, but I thought that was science fiction for the longest time.
mm-hmm.
And this lifelong love of the fantasy genre has continued nonstop. And that led me to the realization there are stories I want to read that I can't find anywhere.
Mm.
And looking for those stories led me to writing them myself. And credit to my friends, they're the ones who convinced me you always have stories, you always have all this content. Why aren't you writing this into a book? So
Mm.
when the pandemic hit, I put a virtual pen to virtual paper and began writing. And I've been given a lot of praise for good world building and authentic characters. So I really focused on that part of it because people are real, whether they're in a fiction book or not. So there's a piece of writing advice: never use characters who have the same starting letter. Well, what do you do when you have more than 26 characters in your books? So it's definitely a lot going in, but I've gotten a lot of good feedback on it. Holds together pretty well.
So okay, so these books are literally fill okay, so like okay, so like when you say, okay, I am here, but I have to go here and I have to go there, I have to go there, but there's a journey to get there, right? So filling in the gaps as to, oh, okay, so
Exactly.
when I was on my way over here, I stopped by here, but no one knows that because it was never written or never included into that particular book or that particular movie. So you are filling in the gaps.
Yeah, exactly so.
Oh.
Right? When Krell walks around the town of Watford, where the series has been set so far, he'll bump into people. And all of those people are characters. They have their story, they have their journey, there's information about them. Some of them are extremely minor and don't have a lot going on. Others are pretty important and have a lot of page time and are discussed and have their own voice and their own personality, their own wants and dreams and desires and needs, and all of those get represented in the page because people are complex. People have personas, they have desires, and they're going to follow through on that and act the way they're going to act, which was actually somewhat of a challenge during the writing process. Where I would come up with the idea of what was going to happen in the chapter and then realized some of the side characters, notably Tristan, would not accept any of that and would do something completely different, which caused me to go through a lot of rewrites to accommodate the authenticity of his character.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I mean, oh my gosh, that is so cool. I mean, I'm so happy you did this. I'm so
I am
okay,
too. It's been a passion
great.
project for me. I'm fortunate enough that I don't need revenue from being an author, but if I make enough, I'm sure as heck going to pursue this full time. I didn't
Mhm.
know I would love the writing process as much as I did until I started, and I didn't know I would love the editing process as much as I did. It's fabulous going back through it and finding as many little mistakes and rewriting things for clarity and understanding what I have in my head is not necessarily what's on the page. Get your book professionally edited, everybody. If you're going to do it, get a professional editor because they'll only see what's on the page, not what's also in your head, and they'll point out those little inconsistencies.
That's amazing. So there are regrets. There's paths that if they go down, like Krell goes down this path, he'll regret it. I mean, there's all kinds of different things. What is the one thing that you really want to highlight? Because I mean, to tell you the truth, it's like, okay, so you can't give the book away. You can't really give all the books away. And we can go in and we can talk about it. But there's just so many different significant things that you could say to fill in the gaps of these characters that we have come to love, but at the same time, we really truly don't know them.
It's actually fascinating to me, talking to different friends and acquaintances when they've read my books, which character is their favorite character. Because there's a whole bunch of them who are like, yeah, I love Tristan, and others who are both close friends, we're all in the same friend group, are like, I couldn't stand Tristan. I hated him with a passion. Justifiably, he's written to be the foil, but some people really enjoy that. So when we look at this journey and kind of the themes of the book, the consequences of your choices is what I'm really trying to explore as we go through this,
Mm.
talking about the decisions Krell is making and the distinct lack of guidance that he gets from ReckNor about what it is that he's supposed to do and why he was called. He begins to piece it together as the sea devils begin clawing their way up out of the sea. But standing there fighting the sea devils has led him to a different understanding of what his actual purpose is going to be.
Ooh. Oh. Oh, this is good. Oh, good. Stop. No, don't. No, this is great. I absolutely, this is like revolutionary. I have not had anyone on the show yet that has done this. I've had people say, well, I wish I knew the character more. I wish I understood them more. I know that this is not just it. And there's just so many different things that you and so many different directions that you can go in. This is
Exactly
wonderful.
so, right? The
I know.
science fiction is great, but it's understood that the laws of physics are what they are, and we're going to maybe invent technology to circumvent them. A lot of starships you can just walk around because there's gravity for reasons. But in fantasy, all of that goes away when you begin introducing magic. And it's
Oh, yeah.
wonderful to be able to explore this any way you want, in whatever context you want, and whatever weird things you want to do.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot that goes on with this. At one point, there's a haunted tower just outside of town, and Krell is vaguely outraged. Like, you just let children go up there? And everybody's like, yeah, the world is full of this stuff, Krell. You'll learn. You'll figure it out.
Wow. I am loving this. Okay, so it says here without revealing too much, the futility of defense that will make readers quit. What is it that will make readers question the true nature of heroism and what it costs? I mean, okay, so heroism costs something. It costs something in real life. It's going to cost something in the fantasy, the unrealistic, or here. It's going to cost something no matter what. But what is? Don't give it away. Okay. I'm trying not to like give too much, but just give a little bit. But this is too interesting. You have got to tell me, tell me, tell me.
There are so many book series where a character's belief in duty is the overwhelming guiding aspect of who they are and what they are, and overwhelms any of their other desires about what they want to be and what they want to do. And Krell struggles with that and comes to this understanding that there's more to life than just service, that duty isn't an unmanageable burden. I mean, look at the vast majority of people you're ever going to meet in your life. They have jobs, they're dedicated to their careers, yet they still have families, they still make time for their children, they still have hobbies outside of work. It doesn't have to be everything you're doing. And that is all on its own a different type of heroism. It's not about being brave or being fearless. It's about being afraid and making hard choices anyway, and understanding that you can find the time. If you have the desire for something, you can make it work regardless of what else is going on.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you, man.
Just have to
Okay. So,
choose.
what is the parallel here in real life and in your books? Is there a parallel to your life?
So, a lot of authors fall into the trap of doing the self insert.
Mm-hmm.
And I deliberately put a self insert in. He's a stupidly minor character buried deep in the book that nobody will ever be able to put two and two together on. But in a lot of ways, and I didn't realize this after I had written the first book, Krell is like the opposite of me in so
Mm.
many ways. He's utterly driven to the point of reckless lunacy on a lot of things. One of the common tropes is paladins die young for stupid reasons. That comes up repeatedly throughout the book. But Krell then knows this and yet throws himself headfirst into danger anyway at every turn, every chance he gets, it feels like, because he doesn't have that stop and think things through attitude that I kind of bring to the table. I've got a long career in software, so software is not about making hasty decisions if you don't want a big mess to clean up. You want to actually stop and think because computers move real fast and will do exactly what you tell them to do, not what you want, but
Yeah.
it'll do it at the speed of light. So it's impossible to stop once you've gotten going. And there goes your database or whatever. So
Gosh, don't hit delete.
really
Don't
stop and think before you do that. Yes. And
don't
that
hit
is
delete.
not Krell. He is, all right. And then, he leaps from the tower into a horde of enemies because the bad guy's
Oh,
down there. I got to go get him. So.
oh my gosh. Wow. What has this done for you? I mean, there has to be something that that is the benefit of you, the writer, and the moment that you have completed the two books. What was that benefit for you?
So for me, there was an intense amount of joy holding the finished product in my hand, right? And that's principally the thing that I wanted most out of this journey, and it's been fantastic. I've learned that I love to write. I've learned a ton about the process of writing and the themes around it. I've learned a lot about how to write characters. I've gotten a lot of great feedback that my female characters are written extremely well, that they feel actually like women, not like men with breasts. So there's a lot that I've gotten good praise for, and I've just enjoyed the process so much. And it's been tremendously rewarding, and I've got no shortage of new ideas. A Paladin's journey is intended to be a 7 book arc. So I'm busy writing book 3, and it'll get done when it's done, and we'll see how long that takes. So when we talk about kind of the costs of heroism, there's a lot of belief in a lot of characters out there that duty is the overwhelming guiding principle, that will overwhelm any of your own wants or needs, that you have to serve your purpose first, and if there's not time left for anything else, then you don't get anything else. And that's not true. That's not true in any aspect of our normal lives, or it shouldn't be true in the lives of even people in a fantasy realm.
Mm-hmm.
So Krell comes to the realization that living on its own can be a form of divine worship, that is enough. Bravery isn't about fearlessness, it's about being afraid and making that choice anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And doing what you want and making time for what you want because that's what you choose, just as ReckNor would will it. Which is, of course, why Krell has kind of a mostly happy ending at the end of Futility of Defense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm. And what kind of a benefit has this had for you? Like, you know, as a writer, as like a person who wrote this, who like went into it and it's like finished it and
It's certainly changed how I interact with media. A lot of movies, TV shows, books I read now, I'm looking at it with a very different set of eyes. Before I could just enjoy it for what it was. Now I kind of see, yeah, but that character is acting atypically from what they were before, or I'm noticing a lot more inconsistencies. Now, I've always been a little bit like this. If I think back to Star Trek The Next Generation, the ship is exploding. They beam Data out at the last minute and ask him, "Are you okay?" And he says, "I'm fine." I'm the guy who stood up and said, Data can't use contractions. So I noticed these little inconsistencies. Don't get me started on essentially any Michael Bay film. But now it's
Michael
gotten a
Bay.
lot worse, I would say, of looking at all of the different kind of I call it the parade of stupid decisions that people are
Mhm.
making. I'm like, is this only happening because that's what the plot requires at this point? There's a lot of things like that that I have a much more critical eye around, which makes the examples where they do it well stand out so much more brilliantly and really kind of hold together in a truly glorious way. And there's a lot of great media out there to consume, whether those are books or movies or shows, where they do this extremely well, where the writing is on it. They've got it. They've nailed it. And they really have everybody firing on all cylinders, and the decisions make sense, and the plot holds together, and it's just a great story.
Wow. I love that. I hope that we didn't miss anything. Did we miss anything today?
I mean, if you want me to keep talking, we're going to be here for hours. So
But did we miss anything crucial?
no, the story is all focused on Krell. He's the protagonist. That follows his point of view entirely as he interacts with a slew of different characters throughout the book series, and begins to understand how he needs to confront the growing threat from the sea. And
Mhm.
this is, he believes, why ReckNor's called him, but he begins to have an understanding of a greater purpose, and something more impactful that he needs to do by the end of Futility of Defense.
That is so cool. I want to thank you so much for being on the show. You can get the books on Amazon. You can check it out for yourself. I mean, this is nowhere near like a commercial that you need to go and buy the book. No, what it is it's, not only are we showcasing people who are going after their dreams, their goals, they're writing their books, they're doing it. But we also want to inspire you to go after your dreams. What would be the one thing that you would tell our watchers or listeners today about going after their dreams?
That it if you're going to have a desire to create something, just try. You have no idea what you're going to learn that you have a passion for, that you're going to love, until you start doing it. So if that's writing, I had no idea that I would love to be a writer as much as I did. As soon as I got through the first draft of the first book, I looked back and was like, I loved this. I hope you find something like that too. And to glom on to what Yaya was saying earlier, if you do pick up my book, excellent. I appreciate that. Leave a review, leave a rating, if nothing else. Comment on it, share your opinions, whether you like the book or not. If you hated it, leave a review about that too. I would rather have the honest truth out there. The more reviews we get, the better off we are. The more people will find my work.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brian, for being on the show. I
Pleasure.
truly, truly appreciate it. And I think what you've done is revolutionary. I think this is cool. So cool. Keep doing it. There's a lot of characters out there that we would love to get to know.
I surely will.
Yeah, definitely. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to have all of Brian's information and the links to the books in the description box below, wherever you may be watching. And if you're watching on TV and you don't have those links, all you have to do is hop on over to our YouTube channel, which is Dream Chasers Radio, and go underneath. It'll be titled the same, and you can go ahead and get those links for yourself. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And don't forget to dare to be different. Until next time, guys. Bye.